My husband kept forgetting our anniversary every single year until I found out he was actually celebrating it, just not with me. Daniel and I got married 8 years ago, our first anniversary. He forgot entirely. No card, no dinner reservation, nothing. He apologized sincerely, blaming a brutal week at work, and I let it go easily enough. Marriages have off years. The second anniversary, the exact same thing happened. Work stress, a sincere apology, a promise to make it up to me the following weekend, which he mostly did. By the third year, I started planning things myself, quietly accepting that remembering dates just wasn't something Daniel naturally did well. It became our pattern. Every single year, the date would pass with Daniel seeming genuinely surprised when I mentioned it. Always apologetic, always promising better next year. I stopped expecting anything specific from him around that date entirely, protecting myself from disappointment by simply lowering what I hoped for. What I did notice, without connecting it to anything specific for years, was that Daniel always seemed unusually distracted around our anniversary date, regardless of forgetting it outright. He'd take longer phone calls that week, seem quieter than usual, sometimes disappear for a few hours, claiming errands that never quite added up when I thought back on them later. Last year, our 8th anniversary, something small shifted my attention properly for the first time. I found a credit card statement showing a restaurant charge from the exact date of our anniversary, a place I'd never been to, time-stamped for dinner while Daniel had told me he was working late that same evening. I sat with that discovery quietly for days, turning it over without immediately confronting him, trying to convince myself there was some reasonable explanation, a client dinner, a work event I simply didn't know about. I started paying closer attention to that specific date across previous years instead of just accepting his usual forgetful explanation. I found old calendar reminders on a shared family cloud account we rarely used anymore, reminders Daniel had set years earlier, clearly labeled with initials that weren't mine, always scheduled for our anniversary date specifically. The pieces started forming a picture I didn't want to fully see yet. I found a hidden folder of photos on an old shared computer, dated across multiple years, always centered around our anniversary date, always featuring the same woman across different restaurants and locations. I sat with everything laid out clearly in front of me for a long time before deciding what to do. This wasn't forgetfulness. This was Daniel deliberately keeping our actual anniversary separate from a relationship that had apparently been running alongside our marriage, almost from the very beginning, using the same date every year without ever telling me the truth about where his attention had really gone. I confronted him calmly, laying the statement, the calendar reminders, and the photos out on our kitchen table, without raising my voice. He didn't try denying it once he saw everything organized clearly in front of him. He admitted he'd been seeing someone since almost the first year of our marriage, and that somehow, over time, their relationship had settled into marking that same date every year, whether out of convenience, habit, or something he admitted he'd never fully examined himself. I didn't ask for further explanation beyond that. I told him I needed him to leave that same night, and that I'd be handling the rest of our marriage through lawyers from that point forward. The divorce finalized 6 months later. I don't celebrate that date anymore, not out of lingering pain, but because I've simply let it become an ordinary day again, no longer weighted down by years of quiet disappointment. I now understand had an actual explanation behind it all along. Sometimes forgetting isn't really forgetting at all. Sometimes it's just remembering something else entirely, somewhere you were never meant to see.